Hello everybody. Today we're going to take a look at using Google Meet on our iPhone. The Google Meet app and the iOS version are both the most up-to-date they can be as of June 3rd of 2020. Right now we are focused in the Google Meet app. I'm logged in my on my work Gmail account, and let's see. Oh yes, and the other thing to tell you is VoiceOver is running, but it's running through the phone, not the speaker. So it might be a little bit difficult to hear. So I'm going to try very hard not to talk over it, and we'll do some tricks to see if we can make it sound a little louder. So that's just wanted to let you know about that. Additionally, we can't get the screen recorder and VoiceOver and Google Meet to play nicely together. So I had to rig an iPad to record this demo. So if those of you who are light and sight dependent might notice that the focus gets a little bit off, but there should be very little interruption to what our task is. So where we're starting is we're starting in the upper left-hand corner. And in this, once you open Google Meet and when you're logged in, they put you in like a waiting room. So where you are is in like a sort of a vestibule. You're not in a meeting yet, and you haven't started a meeting yet. So this is sort of the getting started screen so that you can get ready to either join or initiate a meeting. So in the upper left, we have the navigation menu. So I'm going to just turn that up a little bit more. Maybe it wouldn't. There. I think that might be the most it'll go. So that's the navigation menu. And we'll just open that real quick. Yep, and I'm signed on. I can open some settings. I can send feedback. Report abuse. The help and privacy policy and the terms of service are all here. I'm just going to go to the settings to show you what that looks like. I'm going to swipe backwards. Okay. And here are my settings. And this would be my settings for my account if I wanted to change the account or that I was logged into or something else. This would give you the about information for the version of the app you're in. These would be the Google app settings. We're not going to really look at that today. What we really want to do is we want to be able to look at how to function with this app. So we'll just pass that by. Same thing with Siri shortcuts. So we're going to go up and close that button. And what's interesting is that every time you exit a menu, Google Meet will stick you at the top left of the screen. So you're always going to be starting from the same point, or for the most part. So I'm going to swipe forward. I'm going to swipe right. This is the heading for Google Meet. This is our audio output. It says speaker, and it is a speaker. When we go into the meeting, if there were another person in there, which there won't be, it'll just be me, it'll be available like through the speaker, not through the headset of the phone. So this is what it looks like. So it's putting through the iPhone speaker, and you can adjust your volume. Okay. Okay. There. Sorry, I had to just miss that real quick. Okay. So now we're right back. Okay. Oh well, of course it stuck me somewhere different. We are going forward. Above where the microphone is located visually, which is about slightly down and to the left of the exact middle of the screen, above where the microphone and video toggle buttons are, is the space where your video would show. I have a picture going. I don't have my video going. That's because you would just be looking at the bottom of an iPad, and it's kind of boring. And frankly, the picture isn't too bad, and I don't want anybody looking at anything weird. So this just kind of keeps it consistent for you. That'll help for those of you who are visually dependent on what's going on here. So This microphone toggle button is of course what I'm sure you figured out is the mute button, and you can double tap that to turn it on and off. I'm not going to mess with that just because I don't want to inadvertently mess with the recording or do anything that would mess with it. It should be fine, but let's not risk it, okay? So we're going to swipe forward again. This is the camera. My camera, like I said, is off. The picture that shows is on my Google profile. You set that up in your Google app or your Google profile settings, and that's something, again, that's not something we're going to look at today, but it is possible to do that. This is the new meeting button. This is where I would focus and double tap to begin, obviously, a new meeting. And we'll see what that looks like in a minute. I'm just going to show you the other options too. Meeting code. Meeting code is if you had a code that you needed to enter in order to join a specific meeting, either in progress or one that will start soon. This is where you would put that. Now these sound kind of weird, but these are like previous meetings I have been in. So they're meetings that have started in other, like, that I've been involved in, like another test or another whatever. These are all test meetings, but they list them by the meeting code. As far as I know, there's no way to give them a name, but I could be wrong. But I'm just going to swipe to my left to go back up to new meeting and show you how that looks. Okay. So I've initiated. There we go. Now, for some reason, VoiceOver chooses to go through the speaker once I join a meeting. I'm not really sure why. That is, it might be just the audio settings of the phone. For those of you, again, if you're site dependent, this might be difficult to read, but that's why we've got VoiceOver on. This dialog box, when you start a meeting, when you initiate one, this dialog box will appear every time.
Share this info with people you want to meet with. Be sure to save it somewhere if you plan to meet later.
So this is the info.
Share this to invite others. Heading.
So this is the heading.
Share this info with people you want to meet with. Be sure to save it somewhere if you plan to meet later.
This is the help desk, or the help text, I'm sorry. And we're going to swipe forward.
Google.com/FB/PZHJ/TTA or dial US +14015268489 PIN 944370561 number sign.
As you can see, you can either join by a link or by calling, and both methods will may require a PIN, which is also listed. You could copy that here using VoiceOver, but it's kind of tricky. So we're going to just swipe down
Share join info button,
where we can go to share join info, which is really nice. So if I do that,
close button,
and then there's the close button, but I'm going to go back up to share joining info and show you what that might look like. So your standard join, shortcuts here apply for any time you want to share something. I have this kind of blurred out because it's got personal information of my contacts in there, and I figure they don't want to, they would not appreciate that being shared. But if you'll take my word for it, if you swipe down or swipe right or finger drag, you'll locate all the common places to share things. You can, airdrop it, you can text it, there's even a copy link. You can copy it to your clipboard and then paste it somewhere else later. Oops.
Close button.
There we go. So all of that stuff, those are other ways that you can share the meeting. Right now is when we are inside of the actual meeting. So there were, if this were a real meeting, there would be other people who would be able to hear me because I left my microphone on. They wouldn't be able to see me because my video is off. I should, if they are hearing or if they're sharing their video and audio, I should be able to hear them. Again, at the top here,
You are the main speaker.
I am the main speaker. This is my video, and it should announce, or VoiceOver should tell you who's talking. If there are several people, it will get a little bit more confusing because, as we know, conversations can move kind of fast. So it's something that you and your meeting attendees might want to talk about appropriate etiquette, such as saying who you are when you are speaking, waiting politely to speak, muting yourself so that any extraneous noises filtered out, like your dog barking or things like that, or your children, things like that are filtered out. So let's go ahead and move forward here.
Audio output, speaker, button.
Again, this is my audio output. It's the same button that we had seen before in the sort of vestibule entry area, and it's located sort of in the upper rightish area of the screen.
Turn on captions, button.
Captions is also there.
Options, button.
And these are more options. So let's go ahead and open that menu just so you know what it looks like here.
Switch to back-facing camera, dimmed, button.
If my camera were on, I could choose to switch to back-facing camera. Again, camera is off, doesn't matter.
Turn on captions, button.
They really want to make sure you can find those captions.
Present screen, button.
Present screen. Presenting a screen, as we all know, can be a little bit tricky depending on whether you're using VoiceOver and what's happening with the other apps. Sometimes apps tend to play nicer than others sometimes, and sometimes it depends on the version. But I always recommend, whether you are a VoiceOver user or not, to practice using that present screen area with a trusted coworker or friend so that you can be sure that you can share that information. Worst comes to worst, you can go into your own meeting room, be by yourself, and try it and see what happens. But I always recommend you to just kind of try that.
Go to very low light, button.
This is for those light sight dependent people. If you notice that someone's screen is looking odd or you can't see something, this might be a setting that they might think about adjusting.
Report a problem, button.
You can report a problem,
Report abuse, button.
report abuse.
Help, button.
There's all the help area.
Cancel, button.
And here's the cancel. So if we don't want to change anything, so we're just going to get out of here.
You are the main speaker.
Okay, I am still the main speaker. What do you know about that? Okay.
Audio output, speaker, button.
So then our audio output, see, and it sticks me right back at the top. So sometimes VoiceOver is a little inconsistent about where it puts you back. So it's good to know to think about that.
Turn on captions, options, button.
And this is where we just were.
Turn off microphone, button.
Turn off microphone. Again, there's your microphone toggle.
Leave the meeting, button.
This is your hang up or leave meeting button. This is what you would press when you're ready to be finished or when you're ready to leave. It's in the middle of your screen and maybe up a smidge. So if you found the center of your screen and finger dragged up just a smidge, that would be there. And to the left of that button would be your audio muting button, and to the right of that, as we will find, will be
Turn on camera, button.
your camera button, your camera toggle button. Again, mine is off. This next area is for those who are looking at participants, chats, and other information. So there are going to be 3 tabs here. The first tab is participants, and we're going to swipe past the other 2 tabs just so that you can see what the participant list sort of might look like.
Tab, selected, people, 1 in the meeting. Tab, 1 of 3.
So it says tab people, 1 in the meeting. So obviously there is 1 person in the meeting, and that is me. And we're going to swipe past the other 2 tabs because we don't want to switch now.
Tab, details, tab, you.
Okay, so it says, now that you've gone past that details tab, it says you, and you will probably be the first person listed in the participant list, although that's not always true. Most of the time it is. You can do something called pin yourself if you double tap here.
You pinned.
It says you pinned, and what that does is that makes sure that any video that you are presenting is pinned to the top or pinned to the forefront of the screen. Why would you want to do that? Well, people who are presenting visual content and want to make sure that they can see themselves as they are presenting might be helpful. So if you're demonstrating something and you want to watch the camera to make sure that your hands or what you're doing is in view, that's helpful. So yeah, that's a great option. So we're just going to forward here. Let's unpin myself first.
You.
So that's a toggle. So you pin and unpin. I wish it would say unpin, but it doesn't. And that's fine, whatever. As long as you know.
Tab, details, tab, 3 of 3. Chat, tab, 2 of 3.
Okay, now here let's go to the chat tab. It's 2 of 3. So we're gonna
Selected, chat,
double tap it to change to that tab. And we're in the chat area. Well, obviously we don't have any chats because I haven't made any yet. So I'm going to actually finger drag to the bottom of the screen here.
Send a message to everyone here. Text field.
Okay. And here my finger is on top of a text field, and I'm going to double tap.
Send a message to everyone
Okay.
here. Text field.
And when I do,
Starting point to start.
obviously this is my my QWERTY keyboard pops up. I can enter my text by your standard QWERTY keyboard. I can also do it this way by doing a 2-finger double tap. Hello, everybody.
Inserting hello everybody.
Okay, so dictating can often be faster because if you're trying to listen at the same time that you're trying to enter, sometimes that can be tricky. It might be easier to have an external keyboard. But I guess my point for doing that is to let you know that you can double tap with 2 fingers to begin dictation and double tap with 2 fingers again to end the dictation. And as you heard, VoiceOver will tell you what was inserted into the text box. So this is inserted now. It is not sent. People can't see it yet until you hit the send button. So what I like to do is find that send button.
Empty list.
Here now I'm finger dragging and I'm looking for it.
Hello everybody.
Oh, I found hello everybody. There's my text box. And I know my send button is going to be on the right.
Send a message. Button.
And there it is. So I found it by finger dragging and I'm going to double tap.
Send a message. Dimmed.
Okay.
Hello everybody.
Oh, there it is. So now it's in the regular chat.
Hello everybody.
And I'm going to tap on that just to get rid of my QWERTY keyboard because that takes up a lot of extra room. And if you're using VoiceOver to navigate the chat, you can often get in and out of that keyboard, which is highly, highly annoying.
Audio button off.
Oops.
Audio button on.
That was an accident, sorry. So
People. One
I'm
of
going to
three.
swipe
One
back.
of three.
So here we are with our tabs. One of 3, 2 of 3, and the third one
Selected. Check. Details. Tab. 3 of 3.
is the details tab. I'm going to double tap on that.
Selected. Details. Tab. 3 of 3.
And that is exactly what it sounds like.
FB. PZHJ. TTF. Heading.
This is the meeting code that we are currently in.
Joining info. Heading.
This is going to give you the join info. And I'm going to swipe to my right again.
Google.com/AFBs
That's the email, or I'm sorry, the web address.
Dial US+1 401-526-8489 PIN 944370561 number sign.
Yeah, and there's your phone join info. But again, you don't really necessarily need to do anything with that because next
Share join info. Button.
is your share join info, just like we saw before in the previous screen before we entered the meeting. If you're already in a meeting and you're like, darn, I forgot to send the invitation to Sally Smith, and oh shoot, I forgot to do that. You can go into this info area and send that information to Sally Smith without actually leaving the meeting or being disruptive at all. So that's kind of nice.
Attachments. No files attached. Heading.
The other thing is the file attachments. And some people that use Google Meet like to include file attachments. So suppose you're having a staff meeting on Google Meet, they will, the person organizing it will often attach a Google Doc to the meeting. And that way people who are attending, rather than kind of dinking around in their Google Drive, it's right at your fingertips. It's right there as the attachment as part of the meeting. So that is added when the meeting is created. In an appointment calendar, it's not, I don't believe it can be added to this area later. It would have to be added to the chat where a link would be created and you would be leaving and re-entering the meeting as you looked at that thing if you were joining via your phone. So that's kind of an unfortunate thing, but there's very limited amount that you can do with this sort of an interface. That pretty much describes our Google Meet app. So I'm going to actually go up.
Dial. Joining FB. Tab. Selected. Chat. Tab. 2 of 3. People. 1 of them. Turn on camera. Button. Leave the meeting. Button.
There we go. I'm going to find my leave the meeting button. Goodbye meeting. And as you hear, VoiceOver went right back into that earpiece for the output. So, and I'm back in this vestibule sort of area. I can join another meeting. I can create another meeting. all of that stuff. I can even, my past meetings are on the bottom area of the screen. So if I find, oh, whoops, I accidentally exited that meeting and I shouldn't have, I want to get back in, you can get back in there as well. I hope that this walkthrough was helpful for you. And if you have any questions, you can always get a hold of me. I'm more than happy to assist. Thanks and have a great day.